I've built a quartz farm so big, it makes 35,000 quartz per hour, and that's not even the best part. It also gives you gold, clay, flint, and sand. It's like a one-stop shop for half your storage system. Let's get into it. As always, we're starting with a good old cobblestone generator. I've shown this before, so I'll go through it quickly. A cobblestone generator works by combining water and lava. When they meet, cobblestone is created, as most of you probably know. If you place a drill in front of it and add a belt underneath, you've got yourself an automatic cobblestone generator. Since this is going to be a gigantic farm, I'm building 5 small cobblestone generators instead of one big one. This is much more efficient because it gives you 5 separate production lines, basically 5 mini farms in one. Now that we have cobblestone, we need to process it into gravel. The easiest way to do that is with a millstone. It's important to use a brass chute with a gravel filter. Otherwise, the cobblestone gets pulled out before it even gets turned into gravel. And trust me, that's a mistake you don't want to make. Otherwise, you'll have to redesign the whole farm. Just like I had to. Of course, this isn't the only way to do it. You could also use hoppers, but I wouldn't recommend it. Hoppers are much slower than belts and chutes, and if you, like me, place 5 millstones in a row, they can easily keep up with the cobblestone flow. It's way faster than using hoppers. Now that we have a steady supply of gravel coming in, it's time to turn it into sand. The best way to do this is by using grinding wheels. Gravel gets crushed into sand, clay, and flint. We'll only be using the sand, but I'll come back to that in a moment. Grinding wheels are pretty easy to use, they just require a lot of power. As you can see, I've built the same production line 5 times. This means that if you're low on resources, you can start with just one line. And the more resources you gather, the more lines you can add. Personally, I think 5 is more than enough, but you can always expand further if you want. If you are wondering why I use so many water wheels, the answer is very simple. This farm needs quite a lot of power. Of course, you do not have to use tons of water wheels like I did. You can also use windmills or steam generators. A good steam generator is enough to power the entire farm. But personally, I think water wheels are perfect for this setup. They give it a mechanical look, and if you know this channel, you know that is exactly what we do here. And yes, in case you are wondering, the farm can definitely be made more compact with steam generators. If you stop here, you've already built a massive sand farm. Just look at how fast we're producing sand. You can also choose to direct part of the sand into chests for storage while letting the rest continue down the production line. As you can see, we're getting sand, clay, and flint. But it's important to only let the sand continue through the system, otherwise the farm will get clogged. There are a few options. You can either discard the clay and flint or store them for later use. The first step is, of course, to remove the flint and clay from the system. This can easily be done by placing a brass chute with a filter for flint and clay on each production line. That way, they're removed from the system without interfering with the rest of the farm. Now it's up to you to decide what to do with them. Personally, I keep the clay and throw away the flint. Clay can always come in handy later, but I have no use for flint at all. We're almost done with the farm. The only thing left to do is turn sand into soul sand, which we'll then use to get quartz. Turning sand into soul sand is really simple. Just place a fan with soul fire in front of it, and as long as the sand stays in front of the soul fire long enough, it will turn into soul sand. The only real challenge is getting the timing right. It takes a while for sand to turn into soul sand, but you also don't want the production line to get clogged, because then all that fast sand production goes to waste. Fortunately, this setup makes sure that all the sand is turned into soul sand without blocking the system. The final step is turning the soul sand into quartz. We'll do that using fans as well, but instead of soul fire, we use water. This step is a bit easier since all we need to do is place some leaves with water in front, and we're done. From there, just repeat the same setup as with the soul sand production, and you've got quartz. At this point, my double chest is nearly full of clay and flint. That's why I've decided to get rid of the flint, since I don't need it. And as a bonus, you've automatically created a small clay farm in the process. The last thing we need to do now is connect all the outputs from the production lines and we're done. This doesn't have to be complicated, just a few belts will do the job. And there you have it, a farm that produces 35,000 quartz per hour. That is more than enough quartz for an entire server. Now you can finally build those luxury villas that always seem to need a ridiculous amount of quartz blocks. As you can see, we're also producing gold nuggets. This is a useful byproduct. This farm generates quartz, gold, flint, sand, and clay. So if you're looking for a farm that produces multiple resources, this is the perfect setup. That's it for today. I hope you learned something. As always, let me know what you think and if you have any suggestions for improvement. I'm slowly building a community of people who love Minecraft Create, so if you want to be part of it, make sure to like the video and subscribe. See you next time.